So, the two of you don't believe us, eh?
It's not that we don't trust either of you, but I wouldn't be a proper detective without examining the validity of your alibis. Brad and I are here to confirm two things. Why Vector left to go play games with Knuckles, and if Espio really was reading in the library car.
Vector, we'll start with you. Why did you leave the library car to visit Knuckles? We're prepared to present evidence if
Oh, that's easy. I got bored. What?
I wasn't entertaining him enough, it seems. Vector enjoys being social.
Plus, we were instructed to mingle. I remembered the arcade machine in the saloon car, so I figured I'd go check it out.
It seems to line up with the information we've gathered with Knuckles. And that brings our attention to you, Espio. Rouge entered the library car, found something, then left. You said you immediately started reading, but were you actually reading the entire time you were in the library car?
Of course he was. Once Espio starts reading, he doesn't stop till it's done. I've seen it.
It must have been a good read. What was the book?
Espio doesn't owe you that, detective. Let the man live. What if it was embarrassing?
What kind of things do you think I read? If you won't talk, I have a hunch on what that book might be. Brad, could you help me out?
All right, Brad. What book do we think Espio might have been reading? Where's the... Maybe?
A manual? You think Espio was reading instructions? What argument could you possibly have to support this?
Come on, Sonic. I dodged it by accident. Fell.
Both grasping, I knew it.
Okay, I'm prepared this time. I think. What the? Oof. Got it. More than enough. Brad's dream gear. I just realized it said that.
There are books scattered around the floor, sure, but the remaining books on the shelves were all in alphabetical order. All except this manual, meaning someone at the very least picked the manual up and put it back in the incorrect place. This lack of attention to detail isn't normally like you, Espio.
Hey now, I won't have you insulting my pal like this.
Calm down, Vector. I know you mean well, but I can handle myself.
Apologies, Espio.
A butcher and a poet. Friendship can form anywhere.
That is indeed the book I was reading, the Mirage Express Manual. Trains are cool. In that case, we'd like to ask you a few questions about the manual. Brad, if you don't mind. Can you ask Espio some questions about the manual? Just flip to a page and ask away.
Oh, I see. Quiz Espio about the manual to prove he read it. Which page should I quiz him on? 362.
Okay, what efficient and extremely accurate technology was something?
Robotic arms. During events, they can perform a variety of tasks and are responsible for cleaning up trash and messes afterwards. I remember the conductor saying the train can clean itself. Though I have a feeling the train company just didn't want to hire any janitors. The robotic arms can also detect weapons or explosives being brought onto the train, ensuring passengers' safety. Seems like Espio aced that question. Brad, hit him with another.
Okay, which page?
What is the Mirage Express's cancellation policy?
No refunds, and you will be charged a no-show fee. This does not apply if you're over the age of 65.
Gee, the person who made this rule must have been over 65.
Last one, Brad. Let's see if Espio can go 3 for 3.
All right. 402.
What was implemented to support the conductor duties and ease general train obligations? An intelligent data processing system. It works in tandem with the conductor to ensure smooth travel for guests.
I remember this. The train has an autopilot, but it can't access its full suite of capabilities without the conductor present.
Now, did I pass your little test?
Yes, totally. It's wild you were able to retain all this information so quickly.
A poet's brain is often surprising.
I didn't know if he was... I don't know if I'd be bragging about that.
You've clearly read the manual. Those answers feel far too specific to be guesses.
And you both had the nerve to question my buddy like that. Don't we want to be supporting folks who read?
You have to admit, though, reading the entire time a murder occurred does sound a bit suspicious, even if true. But he answered all my questions so calmly. It's very impressive.
No, I understand everyone's cautious attitudes. Vector was the only one to see me reading, after all. My alibi is hard to substantiate despite being the truth.
Well, you definitely read through the manual, so I suppose we could...
Espio, is that true? Vector was the only one to see you reading?
Yes, that's correct.
Problem? Frankly, I don't believe that can be true, and we have evidence to back it up. Brad?
He always puts me on the spot. Okay, Brad, think. What should we have? A piece of evidence linked to someone who also saw Espio reading. But what? It's the brochure. Or it should be. Or Shadow's lock. So he'd have had to have been here.
Shadow's lock? Please, pray tell, what does this have to do with anything? We're up, Brad. Let's get our argument together.
Alright, I'm gonna think hard. Thinking hard. Oh, I walked right into it. Alright, I got it. We got big brains on this train.
Shadow walked to the library car to get to the saloon car, where he set the original high score on the arcade machine.
Yeah, but I ended up beating it. It wasn't the high score long. Crocs are natural gamers.
Espio said he saw Shadow enter the library car, but he's mentioned nothing about Shadow's return. He only mentions that Vector came back. And Shadow left Knuckles and Vector in the saloon car. Espio was fully seated reading his book for a good while at this point. We know Shadow had to walk back through the library car when he left the saloon car. So there's absolutely no way Shadow and Espio didn't notice one another on Shadow's return trip.
I mean, it was a simple slip-up. I was just fully immersed in my book that I didn't notice Shadow.
You're telling me the sound of doors opening and locking wouldn't have caused you to look up?
Well, you see, I can sense Espio's desperation here. Defending the argument that he was reading the entire time isn't easy.
So if you didn't see Shadow returning from the saloon car to lock all the doors, then at any moment, were you really in the library car at all?
But how would Espio leave? Shadow locked all the doors and no one saw Espio in the saloon car.
It's a mystery, my dear Brad. One that I would love for Espio to solve.
You gotta be kidding me! That cool demeanor is vanishing. I was so involved with my book I didn't notice Shadow pass through the library car. Honest. When Vector returned, he even had to tap me on the shoulder to get my attention.
Yeah, I remember doing that.
I must avenge my friend's death, so I'll ask you again, Espio. If you weren't there for Shadow to see you reading, then how did you leave the library car?
I wasn't. I didn't. Why does this seem right to me? Tails definitely feels like he's onto something, but I don't see it. Was Espio simply sitting reading, or did he somehow vanish to not notice Espio's return to the library car? What should I do? I have to make sure our guests are taken care of. I have to speak up. Tails! We have a piece of evidence that can answer all of our problems.
All right, my fellow associate, lay it on me. What piece of evidence shows Shadow and Espio couldn't have seen one another?
So let's see. If he was here, I would guess it would be this. All right, let's get my thoughts in order. It's gonna be he was sitting in a place where his view was obstructed or something. I missed the button. This is a cool way to work this. These little very Sonic mini games. Nope.
What? Ow!
I've got just enough. Yep.
The library map? Oh, I see.
See the exits? They're right across from one another, a straight path. If Shadow walked down this straight path, there's a way Espio and Shadow couldn't have seen each other.
Looks like you'll have to point it out exactly where on the map you mean. Where could Espio been for Shadow to not see him?
If they were here. If there's a shelf here, then that should have been it.
Interesting. That's where I was sitting reading my book.
I can check this. When I returned from the saloon car, Espio was in the same spot.
That confirms it then. You see, Shadow and Espio couldn't have seen each other from this spot. Because the bookcase is in the way.
There's no way Shadow could have seen Espio, or vice versa.
It makes a lot of sense why you never mentioned Shadow's return, Espio. There's just no way you would have seen him.
I apologize for losing my cool there. I felt like I was grasping despite telling the truth. But I'm glad you all believe me now.
Your alibi isn't the most airtight, but I have no further points. Thank you both for answering all our questions.
We did it! Another pair of alibis validated. 2 down. Too many locked doors to worry about, but I'm glad everything straightened itself out in the end.
Well, I'm exhausted. I'm gonna crash here for a bit. These chairs are so comfy.
Likewise, I could use a breather.
Sadly, our work isn't done. I have plenty of questions for Rouge, and especially Shadow.
Oh, it seems the door to the next car is open. Amy must have kept it open when she passed through earlier.
And that's our cue to leave. See you later, Vector and Espio.
Give 'em heck. If you need any meat chopped up, say the word.
I'll keep my poetry sharp for both of you. A murderer is on the loose, while doors keep getting locked. Tick, tick, tock goes the clock, while our heroes are in the caboose.
At this point, I'm feeling pretty confident in our detective abilities. We're really doing this.
Come on, Brad, let's see what's next.
Coming!
Are you sure you don't want to stay and look at all the great books a little longer?
Mystery calls.
Okay, investigation continues.